All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 12:45. I had to take Kenzo out to see if he can do anything, and he still hasn't. So I'll keep an eye out for that as we go through this chapter, and I'll make sure I take care of him before the family gets home so that he doesn't leave anything for my family to find. Because even though he's housebroken, there's a limit. So, yo, peoples, QShu92 here, and welcome back to yet another reading of My Hero Academia. In the last chapter, we saw more from the power of Star, where she was able to channel her inner Sajin Komamura from Bleach and create an air version of her own version of Kokujo Tengen Myo, and then take a page from Ulquiorra with his Lanza del Relampago and just take laser shot at her from her own air force that's with her and combine it into a giant lance of light to stab it into Shigaraki. And then we find out that she called the United States, where they essentially have sent cruise missiles, nicknamed Tiamat, on their way from the US to Japan for Star to use to take down Shigaraki. So I hope we get to find out what happens then with Chapter 332, State of the Art Hypersonic Intercontinental Cruise. That is a very long title. Chapter 333. Did I say 233? I meant to say 333. Chapter 332. I'm messing it up again. Chapter 332, State of the Art Hypersonic Intercontinental Cruise. And then I guess it shows Star when she was in training, when she was younger, with people, with the other guys around here, making fun of her, saying, "Ha ha, just admit it already. You ain't the greatest at boosting your own powers, Star." And this is recounting her, I guess, her becoming the #1 superhero of America when she was first starting out. Though at a glance my quirks seemed capable of anything, there was always a hard limit when it came to powering up myself. No matter what sort of rule I tried, it never worked out just right. Those who knew me well would say at the end of the day, quirks reflect on what's on the inside. After all, maybe it's because Cassie is a girl. Oh no, don't say that sort of thing. That's wrong. And then one guy says, "That has nothing to do with it, Star. That's just how your quirk is. When it's not enough, use us to pick up the slack. That's how bros roll. I mean, what you're packing is plenty for now, but the problem is you're comparing yourself to All Might. True story, but she's the only one who has a chance of catching up to the big man. Yeah, because they're both beasts." And they're just laughing, and then younger Star is just smiling at them. I always hated those words, but they never once said that to me. And then it shows the cruise missiles on their way towards the big Lanza del Relampago that Shigaraki is kind of buried under right now. The cruise missiles are on their way there. And then one of the guys in the planes is saying, "Here they come. You're going to try and touch those hypersonic power kegs?" And then Star, back in the present, says, "Yeah, but that'll mean undoing my laser rule. When I do, you boys take over and concentrate with concentrated firepower." And then it shows Shigaraki thinking, "She must know that this isn't doing much to me. This united laser blast is only meant to stun lock me via relentless damage, all of which tells me she realizes that without a single attack powerful enough to vaporize me into nothing, it's all powerless. Is she waiting for something? Something packing an even bigger punch than this?" And then it shows the pilot saying, "Roger that, Star. We'll be sure to keep his hyper regen busy, while you switch over to the big booms that really bring the pain." Dang it, it's almost like... No, couldn't be. And yet she must have a way. A make or break moment for us both. Almost like a crappy game of hot potato. And then, as this is going on, it shows a face that's happening. It shows Shigaraki's face, but it almost looks like it's seared down to the bone. Like you see his teeth bare, you see where his nose would normally be, but it's fried. That's how much intense pain is going on right now. And then Star sticks her hand out saying, "Here comes the countdown. 3, 2, 1! And it shows the cruise missiles coming towards the air version of herself's hand. And she grabs them. She grabs the missiles. Now, before these things rip my arm off at the elbow, she taps one of them. New order! Tiamat is redirected! As long as the rule applies to even a single missile. Fire! Says the pilots as they all fire towards Shigaraki, who erupts out of the water now that the Lanza del Relampago is gone. I know it's called, Carosa, or it's called Caro something. I forget. But Shigaraki erupts out of the ground, out of the water, and they all concentrate fire on him as Star redirects all the Tiamat missiles. State-of-the-art hypersonic intercontinental cruise punch! And using the air version of herself, holding these missiles, Star punches Shigaraki with these cruise missiles, and the whole area goes up. The whole area erupts in a massive explosion. It parts the clouds, it parts the seas, and a ginormous explosive shockwave is seen in great detail. Imagine a meteorite the size of Texas coming down, and it just hits the water. It parts the clouds, it parts the water, and it just feels the reverberation throughout the world. But she just did pretty much a cruise missile punch with multiple cruise missiles. And she just punches Shigaraki. And there's such an explosion that it can be seen all the way where Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist are, with one of the pilots saying, "How's that?" The explosion is so large, you can see it in the distance from where Endeavor and the rest of the heroes are driving. That's how far away they are. But the explosion is so big that they can see it from where they are. And Endeavor's just looking on, and then Stars being blown back, and then it shows that the punch was so powerful, it really did split the ocean, because you can see the ocean. You can see the ocean, and you can see the bare ground in the spot where the explosion happened. And Star's looking, and she's looking down, and then she looks down, and there's a hole where Shigaraki was. And it shows Shigaraki, whose body has basically been massively mutilated. He's been massively mutilated by this attack. Like, his whole body is seared. You can see the muscle. You can even see the bone structure and bare skeleton under certain sections of his body. That's how powerful this attack was. But it's not enough to stop him as he launches out of the hole as the ocean, the literal ocean, starts to come back and replace itself in this place where it was immediate displaced from the explosion. And here's the thing I've noticed about Shigaraki. Shigaraki's mindset has started to become akin to that of All for One's in the fact that he just over-explains things in great detail, because Shigaraki didn't do this before. So you can tell that All for One's influence is definitely in there with him as all of this is going on. Is kerosene the word you were seeking? Not kerosene, but it was it was not kerosene. It was some Greek-looking word. Some Greek-looking word. I forget which. I'll look it up once I'm done with this chapter. But Shigaraki just launches out of the hole, body regenerating at high speeds, but you can still see just the roughness of his body fully regenerating. Like, his eyes was destroyed. If you could see this panel right now, he just looks like a... Wait, it always comes in twos. There it is. He just looks like a decaying zombie. That's what he looks like. But then we get an explanation from Shigaraki as Star looks on, and he just says, "I can control what my decay affects. I knew she was preparing something big for me. Our little back and forth thus far told me New Order can only affect two things at once, so I also knew that the situation was about to shift. The instant that shift came, I wasted no time in using decay to tunnel into the earth. If I'd run and hide before the big something hit, she would have caught me in the act and adapted. It was a gamble that relied on exact timing. A second's delay would have been a fatal error." He used the Nomu as a decoy? And then Shigaraki says, I'm just playing along with your nasty game of hot potato. And then the pilots say, Star needs support. Back into formation. Give her a place to land. And Shigaraki, still regenerating, says, Up against anyone but me, that move would have finished the job, but you came up short for once, and you're taking that loss to the grave. And it shows that the Nomu that's still airborne, Shigaraki says, now burst, and causes the Nomu to explode. Me and myself make better use of your resources. And then one of the pilots, wow, Shigaraki, and it shows his body still regenerating more and more after this. So he really does have high-speed regeneration. He lands on multiple planes and then just jumps from each one as he launches towards Star. And then one of the pilots says, sock it to a Star, because after all that damage... And then Star is still airborne, and she's thinking, not enough. He's regenerating too quickly. My craft going boom should blow him to bits. And then Star just thinks back to when the guys were talking to her, and then the pilot guy says, do it now, Star! And then Star smiles as Shigaraki is in front of Star, and she touches her face. I don't know what to say. That's the end of the chapter. Nothing else is seen after that. Next is going to be when we find out if all those theories about Star being able to save herself with her quirk. See, here's the thing. Someone said that next is going to be when... Oh, wait, you already said that. Be able to save herself with her quirk, hold any water. Here's the thing. Someone told me that the very first moment that Star started fighting Shigaraki, that Star was going to die. And I, for one, I'm still not with that theory, because there's no way you're going to show us the #1 hero of America, them fight Shigaraki. And then they just get killed by Shigaraki, because apparently he's that powerful of an opponent. That can't be. That can't be how this ends. I refuse to believe that even with Shigaraki having his hand on Star right now, I feel like he's not going to kill her because her quirk is too powerful for him to pass up. Think about it. All for One said that if I can get my hands on Star's quirk, then this war that's going on right now will be all but a formality. So he's not going to just upright and kill Star without getting her quirk. So at the very least, he'll try and take her quirk right now, or Star will take this opportunity to try and take them both out, or Star has another plan in mind. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think this is the end for Star, though. It can't be. Because All for One wants her quirk, and if he kills Star without getting her quirk, there's no way that New Order quirk is going to pop up again. This is one of those moments where we should wait until next chapter before we start prophesying doom. Exactly. That's the reason why I was never with that theory. That's the reason why I was never with that theory of that, oh, Star is going to die if she faces Shigaraki. I was never with it because that was the first time we were meeting her. And she's the #1 superhero of America. And she's come all the way to Japan. There's no way that this is the end for Star. So that's why I can't go with that theory. And I can't really say what I think is going to happen next, because as much as I would like to form these sort of theories, I can't. This is like you say, Koiz. This is a chapter where we just have to wait until the next one. Because if we come up with theories and they are wrong, then we would have wasted all that time coming with theories. We just literally have to wait until the next one. So I can't say too much about it. What I can say and talk about is Shigaraki and his insane levels of durability and regeneration. He was seared down to his skeleton. Like, down to his skeletal structure. There were still bits and pieces of him that was still on, but his body was seared down to the point where his body was just melted off because of... Hold on, I did say I was going to look this up. I did say I was going to look up her move with her New Order quirk and find out the name of it. Super move... Keranos, that's what it's called. Keranos. After creating the giant air construct of herself, she has the team fire lasers at it, which she collects and makes into a sword for her giant self. So the power of Keranos was enough to sear Shigaraki down to his bones. Close to. Another sneeze is coming. She was able to sear Shigaraki down to his bones, and he was still able to regenerate even after she took the Tiamat missiles and then proceeded to punch Shigaraki with it. She took these nuclear war-headed cruise missiles, all I want to say 7 of them, or 8, I think there was about 7 or 8 that came from America. She grabs them all, redirects them, takes control of them, and using her Keranos air construct of herself, not a Keranos, it was called Fist Bump to the Earth. Fist Bump to the Earth, that's the move that she used. She took her Fist Bump to the Earth move, grabbed the cruise missiles, and then proceeds to punch Shigaraki with it, causing a massive crater in the ocean, so large that it took a hot minute for the ocean to just come back into place and start filling up that empty space that she just nuclear punched into. But Shigaraki was smart enough to think slightly ahead of it and kind of decay the earth around him so that it would save him from straight up dying from the punch itself. So he took the punch, but he decayed the earth around him so that he could get buried a little bit deeper into the ground rather than him just having the ground be the opposite force versus the nuclear warheads that hit him. The dude just tanked getting hit with nuclear warheads. The guy just tanked getting hit with cruise missile warheads. So One For All better have a much bigger pop, much bigger oomph, much bigger punch than nuclear warheads. If this guy can tank nuclear missiles and getting punched by a person who is able to create an air version of themselves 1,000 times their size, and even survive getting pierced by a giant sword of pure light, One For All, especially when Midoriya unlocks all of the quirk abilities, it better surpass the power of a nuclear warhead if he intends to beat Shigaraki. Because if Shigaraki has basically tanked everything that would basically kill everyone else. Though, if all for one, all for who? Yeah, you might as well say all for who, basically, because it's... Though, if all for one gets her quirk, then his defeat is nigh impossible, at least in a non-plot armor way, even with a fully powered Deku. Yeah, because then all for one merely just has to say things, and he'll instantly win. Like, he just have to say, Midoriya, Izuku Midoriya. His heart will stop if he moves. And if Midoriya is moving, then he just instantly dies. So if All For One gets this quirk, it's over. Which is why I stand by the idea that Star is not going to die, even though Shigaraki's hand is directly in front of her face. Something else is going to happen. Now, we don't know what this, hold on. If we don't know what this is my craft going boom should blow him to bits. Do it, Star. So I don't know if the pilot who's with Star right now is going to intend to blow himself up in order to get Star away from Shigaraki, but it just shows Shigaraki, his hand is actually on her face. But we'll have to see if the side of Shigaraki, if the individual in front of us right now is actually Shigaraki, who wants to just destroy her, or the All for One side that wants to take her quirk. That remains to be seen right now, but we'll just have to see in the next chapter. That's all I can say. I could come up with so many theories, but this is a chapter that we just have to really wait on. It's a good chapter, by the way. The power of Star is insane. Really insane. She can do so much. She can do so much with her New Order quirk that it's crazy. And the fact that she still acknowledges that One For All is far vastly more powerful than her own quirk. And we've seen the things that she can do with her quirk. And One For All, it just surpasses her in terms of that power. Speaks a lot of levels to One For All as a whole. I hope we get a perspective change soon to Team One For All. I hope we do as well. We spent not saying that us spending time with Star is a bad thing, but we spend a lot of time with Star, and hopefully Endeavor sees what's going on, and he makes his way over there as well, since he technically can fly. But we're just going to have to see in the next chapter. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. We just have to wait. We literally, we have to wait. We have no choice. We're getting a chapter next week. One Piece is going on break next week, but My Hero Academia is not. So we're just going to have to see where things go from there. Overall, great. Fantastic chapter. I'm slightly worried for Star, but at the same time, I'm going to be patient and see where things go. So with that being said, I'm not going to keep you here any longer than I already have, because family just got home with food and I am ready to eat, and then I'll go ahead and do my reaction to the newest One Piece episode for you guys. And if I got some free time later, well, we'll play some games. She certainly has one of the top 3 greatest quirks in MHA history. One For All For One, and New Order. They're the 3 supreme quirks that I have ever seen in the series, and she's added her quirk to that listing. But we're just going to have to see where things go for Star and the world as a whole. The fact that we're not going on break after this, I would have imagined. The first chapter of My Hero Academia in November, and it's already starting out with a banger. So I'm really looking forward to the next one. But we're just going to have to be patient and wait and see. So hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. It's time to get some pizza.